We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Hello students, I am Professor Sweety Patel, Faculty of AHMEDABAD Institute of Technology, Computer and IT Department, Subject Advanced Java Technology. In today's session, I am going to cover JSP Directive. Now JSP Directive provides the directions and the instructions to the container, telling it how to handle the certain aspects of JSP processing. In other words, JSP Directive are the messages that tells the web container how to translate the JSP page into corresponding servlet. JSP Directive affects the overall structure of the servlet class. Now directives can have number of attributes which can be used as a key value pair and can be separated by spaces. Now there are three types of directive: page directive, include directive, and tag lib directive. The syntax of defining the directive is less than percentage at the rate directive name, it could be page, include, or tag lib, then attribute. Now for each and every directive they have their own attributes. For page directive there are different attributes, for include they are different, and tag lib they are different. So attribute and their value. If you want to specify more than one attribute, then you can specify by giving the spaces in between two attributes. Now let's see first directive, that is page directive. You can define the page directive like this: less than percentage at the rate the keyword page, then the name of attribute equals to the value of that particular attribute. Now the page directive is used to provide the instructions to the container, and these instructions pertaining to the current JSP page only. Now page directives are declared at the top of the JSP page. So here we have the different attributes like import, content type, extends, info, buffer, language, then is EL ignored, is thread safe, auto flush, session, page encoding, error page, and is error page. So let's see first one, import. Now import attribute is used to import the classes, interfaces, or all the members of the packages in the Java. Like similar to the import keyword in Java, you can use import attribute in page directive. Then we have content type. Now the content type attribute defines MIME type of HTTP response. MIME type means multi-purpose internet mail extension. The default value of the MIME type is text/HTML. You can define any other two if you want, like application/MS Word. Then next one is extends. Now extends attribute defines the parent class that will be inherited by its generated servlet. And the another one is info attribute. And this attribute simplify the sets the information of the JSP page, which is retrieved later by using get servlet info method of the servlet class. Another directive is buffer. Now buffer attribute sets the buffer size in kilobyte to handle output generated by JSP page, and the default size of the buffer is 8 KB. If you want, you can provide 16 KB, 32 KB, and so on. Then next attribute is language. The language attribute specify the scripting language used in JSP page, and the default value is Java. Then is el ignored. Now this attribute is used to ignore the expression language in JSP. That is, by default it is false, but if you don't want the expression language to be included in JSP, then you can make it false. And if you want the expression language, then you can write true. Is thread safe. Now, is thread safe is used to handle the multi-threading. Like a servlet, JSP also supports the multi-threading, and if we want to control this behavior of the JSP page, we can use isThreadSafe attribute of the page directive. The value of isThreadSafe is true by default, and if you make it false, the web container will serialize the multiple requests. That means it will wait until the JSP finishes responding to a request before passing another request to it. So you can handle the multi-threading by making it true or false. Then we have auto flush. Now auto flush attribute of the page directive is used to automatically flushes the buffer. So why we need this auto flush? If the buffer size get full, then we can empty the buffer. Then we have session attribute. Now the session attribute mainly used the page directive to specify whether or not the JSP page participate in HTTP session. That is, whether it handles the session tracking mechanism or not. Then we have page encoding. Now page encoding is used to provide encoding techniques to the particular JSP page. Then we have error page. Now error page attribute is used to specify whether that particular page is error page or not. Like we want to handle the exception handling inside the JSP file, then we can write the error page is equal to name of that particular error page if that error occurs in the current JSP file. The next one is error page. Now error page attribute is used to specify the current page as a JSP error page. That is, the page will work as a error page and it is set to true. And if it is true, then only you can use the exception implicit object of the JSP. That is, if you want the catch block and if you want to display the error message, then we make the particular page as an error page by using error page equal to true. So let's see all these page directive attributes, how we can use and declare them. Like first one, page import. Here we are importing the date class by using java.util.date. Then contain type we are specifying application /MS Word. Then page info we are specifying information about JSP, which is again we can retrieve by using servlet method get servlet info. Then buffer, we can specify the buffer size. By default it is 8 KB, but here we are specifying 16 KB. Is expression language ignored equal to true, means we can ignore the expression language in this particular JSP. Then is thread safe is equal to false. Then we have language as in a Java. Now as we have declared the date class and the import attribute, we can directly use the date function over here and we can display the today's date. Now let's see another example, error page and error page attribute. Now these two attributes are used together. Like try catch block we don't have any try catch block in this JSP directly. If we want, we can use the page directive error page attribute and give the error page name, which will act as a catch block for this particular error handling. Right, here you can see we are dividing a number with 0, so obviously arithmetic exception will arise over here and we can get divide by 0 error. So how we can print the message to the user that we are encountered with this error. So when this error occurs, this JSP container redirects the page to the error page.jsp. So here we are having error page.jsp, and that we are having page directive is error page equals to true, means this error page is working as an error page. Okay, it is not simple JSP file, it is your error file, error displaying file. So here we are displaying the error message, whatever you want to display, sorry an exception occurred, and then the name of the exception, like the name of exception is in this expression tag, you can declare the exception. Now this exception is an implicit object, and the error message like divide by 0 error is displayed by using this object. So this exception object can be used if the is error page attribute of the page directive is set to true. So this is about declaring the page directive inside the JSP having different attributes. Now let's move to another directive, that is include directive, and this include directive syntax is less than percentage, then the name of directive, that is include, then attribute is file equal to name of the file. The file could be anything, HTML, JSP, anything. So the include directive is used to include the content of any resource, or it may be JSP file or HTML file or any text file. Now over here, the include directive includes the original content of included resource at the page translation time. That means whenever first time when you call the JSP, it is going to be translated into the servlet, right? At that time the page translation phase occurs only once, so it will include the static resource of the included file into its current file, means include file equal to header.html in our case. So the content of header.html will be placed over here into your original file, and then its own content will be displayed. So basically it is used as a code reusability, you can say, so that we can use that particular file whenever and wherever we want in particular JSP, like header and footer. Then so here you can say the include directive includes the original content, so the actual page size grow at runtime, so it would be more time consuming also, you can say, because original content would be modified and will be added with the newer content which we are going to include in it. Then we will see another directive, that is tag lib directive. Now the tag lib directive of the JSP, it is used to define a tag library that defines many tags. We can use TLD, that is tag library descriptor file, to define the tags. We can also define a custom tag, that is we can create our own tags, and we can also have the standard tags, that is Java standard tag library provides, and we can use that tags inside our tag library. We have different JSTL tags, and that we will see in some other session. So syntax for this is less than percentage @ tag lib as a keyword, then URI where your file is kept, then prefix means the name of the tag you are providing. So see here how we can provide the URI, uniform resource identifier, prefix the name of the tag, and then the tag name, current date. So it will display the current date, so we can define anything we want inside the tag, and we can recall it and we can use it wherever we want. Okay, so let's move to another topic, that is action tag. Now action tags in the JSP are having different features and functionality, ranging from forwarding the file to some another file, including the content of another resource to the current resource, using the Java bins, that is calling the Java class file, and so on. So basically action tags or elements are the mainly used to control the flow of the JSP pages, and we can use, suppose if I take an example, JSP colon forward, then it forwards the request and response to another resource. Then include action tag, it is used to include the another resource to its current file. Then use bin action tag, it is used to create or locate the bin object. Then we have set property and get property action tag, which is used to set the value of property in bin, and get property, which is used to print the value of the property of the bin class. Then we have many more others like plugin, param, fallback. So the plugin is used to embed the another component like applet to its current JSP file. Then we have param, which is used with the forward method to set the parameter, so we can use param action tag. Then we have fallback action tag, can be used to print the message if the plugin is not working, so it is used along with the JSP plugin. So let's see the examples. Here we have the forward and include action tag. Over here, forward action tag, we are providing the page where we want to forward our current JSP file to another JSP file, so the destination where we want to go. Then we have forward index.jsp, and we have include. Now in this include, you can see we had the include directive over here, and we also have include action tag. Okay, so what is the difference between these two? As I told you, include directive is used to include the static content, and this include action tag is used for dynamic pages. So the JSP include action tag includes the resources at request time, so it is better for dynamic pages. Okay, so the difference between the include directive and include action tag is the directive tag include the resource at translation time, and action tag includes the resources at request time. Then at the include directive side, better for static pages, and include action side, better for dynamic pages. Then include directive includes the original content in the generated servlet, whereas include action tag calls the include method. So this is the difference. It will increase the performance if you use the include action tag rather than include directive. That is your choice. Like if you are having more dynamic content, then go for the include action tag, and less static content, then you can go for the directive also. Next is use bin. Now use bin, JSP use bin action tag is mainly used to access the Java class, right? So what are the convention we have to follow for Java bin class is it should have no argument constructor, it should be serializable, it should provide the methods to set and get the values of the properties that are known as setter and getter method. It is also called as Pojo class. Now what is the purpose of Java bin? According to the Java, it is reusable software components, right? A bin means encapsulates the objects into one object so that we can access this object from multiple places. right? We can combine the many objects into one object, and we can access that multiple objects in one place. So it is used easily and provide the easy maintenance. Okay, for an example, suppose we have an employee class having the id and name. So we could have the private variable as id and name, and we have public methods of this employee class as set id and get id, set name and get name. These are the public methods, and by using this public method we can access the variable of that class, private variable of that class. So it will act as a data encapsulation also, you can say. So there are some attributes of the use bin action tag. First one is id, and it is used to identify the bin in the specified scope. Now the scope attribute is represent the scope of the bin. It means it could have page scope, request scope, session scope, or application scope. The default is page scope. Now in the page scope, it specifies that you can use this bin within the JSP page only, and default is page scope. The request scope specify that you can use this bin from any JSP page that processes the same request, and it has wider scope than the page scope. Then we have session scope. Now session scope specify that you can use this bin from any JSP page in the same session, whether processes the same request or other. It has wider scope than the request scope. Then we have application scope. Application scope specify that you can use this bin from any JSP in the same application. Like in the whole web application, you can use this attribute. It has wider scope than the session. Then we have class attribute. It is used to instantiate the specified bin class. That is, creates an object of the bin class, but it must have no argument or no constructor and must not be abstract. Then we have type attribute. It provides the bin data type if the bin already exists in the scope, and it is mainly used in class or bin name attribute. If you use it without a class or a bin name, no bin is instantiated. Then we have bin name, that is instantiates the bin using java.bins.bins.instantiate method. Now let's see the example how we can call the Java method by using Java bin. Suppose we have a calculator.java class, simple bin class, that is it has a simple cube method. We have this class calculator inside com.abc folder, and a method having one argument and integer as a return type. So how we are going to call this cube method in the JSP file? So when we run this index.jsp file, very first step is we are going to instantiate the calculator class by using this id equal to object. Whatever name you want to provide, you can give it. Then class package name, then class name. Package name is com.abc and the class name is constructor. Now here you can see id is equal to object, so object dot cube, and we are providing one integer argument to the cube. So this object is bound with the calculator and it will call the cube method, and it is having the return type as integer, so we'll get the value inside this m. So this is how we can call the Java file, okay, Java class, its method, by using id of the use bin action tag. Now let's see another example where we can use set and get property. Here we have index.html file, then we have first.jsp file, then we have user.java file. Three files we are having. So in this first index.html file, we are having three text box: name, password and email, whose name are name equal to name, then password name is equal to password, then here the email name is equal to email. Now when user clicks on register, it should go to the first.jsp file where I am going to display the three values. Right, now if you are aware of the request.get parameter, then you will realize that we can get the value of the text box by using request.get parameter method, right? By using implicit objects also we can get that value. And another approach is by using useBean action tag. In that useBean we have provided id, then we have provided class where we are using the set and get method of the corresponding three text box. See, name, password, email. Same name you have to provide over here, name, password and email. And respective set and get method like set name, get name, set password, get password, set email, get email method over here. And then we can set the property by using the set property action tag where I am providing property equals to star. Even you can provide individual name like name, password and email, but if I mention star means I am going to set the all properties which I have declared, and I am providing name of the ID over here. So here I have set all the name inside the name, password and email. Now I want to print those value. So by using get property action tag where I have to mention the property name. What is the property name for displaying the name? We have the name, and over here name. So if I want to display the password, then property equal to password, which I have here password, and here in the Java class also password. Similarly email, and the name of the get property would be the ID of the useBean class. So you can get the record as this three value. So likewise we can use the useBean property and all the set and get method to call the Java class set get method, or any function which is provided in the class we can call. So this is today's session, students. Thank you. Happy learning.